Hi there! Today we'll be taking a look at primitive data types. So, what are they? Primitives are the most basic form of data within JavaScript. They're also known as built-in data types as they are integrated within the core of the language and do not need to be imported. There are 7 different primitive types, and they are string, number, Boolean, undefined, null, BigInt, and symbol. You can try to remember these by using the buns keyword, where there are 2 of each letter other than U, so BB, U, NN, and SS. It's important to note that primitive types are immutable. Okay, let's look at each one. So strings. This is a data type for text and can be as short as 1 character. When defining, we place the characters inside of quotation marks. They can be single quotes, double quotes, or even backticks. Numbers. So, as expected, this is a data type representing numbers, such as integers as well as floats, both positive and negative. We can store numbers inside of a variable like so. Booleans. There are 2 values that booleans can be, true or false. Make sure to use lowercase values and no quotes. In other languages like Python, you'd capitalize true or false. Undefined. Undefined represents values that have been defined but have yet to be assigned a value. So we can write it like this. But also, if a variable declared using var is hoisted, it has an undefined value until we reach the line where the value has been assigned. Functions also have an undefined value if there is no return value. Null. So null is oftentimes used as a placeholder to say, hey, there isn't supposed to be any value here. And so you can just declare a variable and then assign null and make sure it's all lowercase. Symbols. Symbols are unique values that are primarily used as property keys inside of objects. If we declare one symbol, we can optionally pass in a description. It's pretty neat because if we have 2 symbols with the same description, they are each considered unique. If the 2 are compared, they would not equal each other, even though they have the same description. BigInt. So BigInts hold really large numbers. Number data types have a limitation of 2 to the 53rd minus 1. This is where BigInt can help. You can place an n at the end of a number, or you can just declare it by using the BigInt function. Okay, so what are some theoretical questions we might run into in an interview? You might be asked, what are the 7 primitive types? And now we're going to want to remember buns. So besides the U, there's 2 of all of them. The B's are Boolean, BigInt, U is undefined, the 2 N's are number and null, and the 2 S's are string and symbol. Let's move on to another one. What would the primitive type of a value be if you tried to add a string and a number together? So the number would be coerced into a string, and the type would be of type string. Lastly, what's the difference between null and undefined? So fundamentally, they are pretty similar. But null is like a placeholder that a developer would add into the code for the absence of a value, while undefined is not a placeholder, but rather returned if a function doesn't have a return or assigned to a variable as a default value. All right, on to some coding questions. So based on this code, what will be logged to the console? So this is a pretty interesting question. It's important to note that type of always returns a lowercase string, and the question is pretty straightforward until a certain point. So string will be a string, number will return a number, undefined will return undefined, and now null is the one type that is tricky. So you would think the type of null would return a string of null. However, due to a bug in JavaScript, null is actually of type object. And so that might be a tricky question that an interviewer may ask you. If we hit save, we can see all the other values logged and everything else is as expected except for null. On to the last question. What would the following code output? So once again, there's a special rule in JavaScript. Here, undefined and null equal true when using a loosely equal operator. So null and undefined both have falsy values and they represent having no value, and in JavaScript, the 2 are considered loosely equal to each other. However, when using the strict equality operator, we will not be doing any type coercion, and because null and undefined are 2 different types, this will result in a false value. All right, that's it for today's episode. Thank you so much for watching. Please like and subscribe if you enjoyed the content, and I look forward to seeing you guys in the next one.